Hello, pursuers. Welcome to another episode of the Pursuit of Happiness podcast. I am your podcast host, Naz Kazemi. We are going to get into some Real Housewives of Rhode Island because we had another episode come out in the same week. And now it's at its original time, which I believe is going to be on Sundays. And we're going to get into Real Housewives of Atlanta. You guys, I'm so happy Atlanta is back. Atlanta is one of my favorite franchises. I love that all the women are unapologetically themselves. And I respect women that can be like, this is who I am, like me or don't. And I find that on franchises like Real Housewives of Atlanta, I see less self-producing or trying to do what the audience wants them to do, where I see on other franchises. I'm not saying that none of the cast do it, but it's less of that on this particular franchise, and I love it. I also love Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Like I love anything Atlanta. The culture, the people that come out of there, everything is just one of my favorites. So I believe Love and Hip Hop, the second part of season 2 comes out today. I might, just kind of touch base on that because I love that show so much. I don't want to necessarily recap it. I just kind of want it to be my thing where I watch and I enjoy it. But I will touch upon it here and there. Okay. Let's get into Real Housewives of Rhode Island. You guys, the second episode. Oh, wait. Before I do that, I want to say In the City, which is the new, it's a Summer House cast, but they're not doing, it's a Summer House cast, but think Southern Charm crossed with a Summer House, it shows their life in the city. And Danielle is back because the trailer dropped. So we got to see that. Danielle is back. She's in a long-term relationship. Just really quickly about Danielle. She's someone that never strike me as someone that had such an active sex life as she did. And hey, I'm not judging, but damn, that girl really she had fun. She has fun. She's got a good life. She's, again, one of those people that's unapologetically herself and brings that to the camera. So there were moments that you loved her and there were moments that you hated her, but she was definitely great for Summer House, the times that she was on, albeit at times controversial and didn't get along with the other girls. But in the end, good TV. Those seasons were fun to watch. They were chaotic, but fun to watch. With that being said, In the City is the new Summer House cross. Like I said, let's say Southern Charm. They take them out of the weekend partying, and it's more like real life stuff. So this is going to be exciting to watch. I'm so happy that this is coming. This is the release for this. The premiere for this is May 19th, and they say it's right after Summer House. It's kind of nice to see that they didn't cancel this despite the whole thing going on with Amanda. In fact, I think they dropped it at a perfect time because not that people have forgotten what Amanda's done or what West has done or the whole Amanda scandal that's going on right now. Again, I hate that word. It's just singling out one person where I feel like, West needs to kind of take accountability a little bit too. How come we always leave the man out of it? Like for Scandival, I guess it's just the name. It just sounds good. Because, yeah, Tom Sandoval was the headlining person for that tour, but this one it's Scamanda. And I've been posting a lot more for my socials because I kind of waited to see how the podcast would do, and I want to just focus on putting on episodes and being authentically myself. And now I've decided to kind of branch out and do some social media for it as well. And I love that I get to interact with other people that I feel just as passionate about me. So far, all the comments have been pretty respectful, and all the DMs. Although what's interesting to see is that people don't really feel bad for Amanda, and nor do they really care about her mental health. And they're like, well, if she didn't care about Sierra's mental health, why should we care about hers? I think one thing to note is that if you're a Sierra fan, Sierra is a nurse. And I think if anyone cares about people's mental health or their health in general, it would be Sierra. So although this is going on, and I'm not saying feel sorry for Amanda, but just keep in mind that Amanda dealt with a lot of mental health struggles, and she was open about it on the show. I just don't want to see someone injure themselves or that word that starts with an S I don't want to say it because if I post this on my socials, then it's going to get blurred out. I don't want to see any type of self-harm come from a bad decision that you made. Okay, guaranteed you're going to have people that are going to love you or hate you on this. There's going to be no gray area. There's going to be people that will not necessarily support what you've done, but support you and say, we hope that we see you evolve from this and come out better on the other side. Or there's going to be people that are going to absolutely hate you. And other things that I've seen about Amanda are like, oh, she's always been this girl. She's always been the mean girl. Well, so has Paige. And I love Paige. But Paige and Amanda were the mean girls. And Sierra. Those three, when new people came into the house, they were always kind of the little clique. And go back to other seasons and watch. I've been watching it since those twins were on. One of them's name was Lauren. I forgot the other one. And I think Ben, when Ben was on too. But all I'm saying is that they all were encompassed in it. Now, I know Paige went off and did her own thing. Hannah went off and did her own thing. But Amanda, I feel, has grown. And then if I think about it, again, I'm not making excuses for her. I just think that part of maybe being a mean girl is the insecurity. And we saw that Sierra was kind of like that at the beginning, but she's kind of changed. Like this season, she did kind of open up and she was a lot more fun and engaging. And she thanked her antidepressants for that. So see, she's being honest about it. Love a girl that's honest. But this is the evolution that people take. And I think of anybody on this planet, Sierra would be the one that wouldn't want anyone's mental health affected to that extent where there's self-harm involved. And I just am a little bit worried for Amanda on that level because I know that Amanda struggled with that before. In terms of how this reunion is going to play out and how I got onto this topic was because May 19th is when In the City premieres, and they said that it's after Summer House. So I'm assuming that because May's quite still a ways away and we're just kind of at the beginning of April, I'm assuming that that's after also the reunions. But it's nice to kind of just go into the next thing, not so that we can forget, but we can kind of just get our minds met with the information that we need to see how this develops, because we're all curious minds here. We're just trying to timelines, receipts, whatever we're trying to figure out. So yeah, I know we're all detectives and sleuths and whatnot. This is just going to be the next piece of the puzzle for us to see, because this was also filmed, I'm assuming, right after Summer House was filmed. It's just interesting to see. It's going to be like a mind-fulfilling prophecy to kind of see like all the dots being connected and, so that part I'm kind of excited about. I'm excited to see the reunion for Summer House. I just want to touch up on that really quick before we get into Rhode Island. I see a lot of people pulling Easter eggs and be like, oh, well, this happened and this happened. I don't see it that way. I think that they were just West, Kyle, Amanda were all good friends. Do you not have good friends that you call by nicknames? I have friends named Michael, and they go by Mike, but I either call them Michael or Mikey. I never go by what they actually are called at work or by other people. It's just when people I'm really close to, that's just what happens. So were they close friends? Of course. Why? I feel like it's just similar type of lifestyle. West on one hand goes and parties a lot. And then on the other hand, like he's chill and he like blazes, we call it blazing in Canada. He blazes weed and he like chills. And so, yeah, like he was probably friends with both of them. And, when you're friends with a couple that constantly fights, you're always going to give advice to both. You either completely stay out of it or when you see something that's really uncalled for, you're going to call it out. Typically, you try to stay out of it because like it's like the person that cried wolf, like it happens so many times that like eventually you just stay out of it. The shock factor disappears after like the fourth or fifth time that they fight, in my experience anyways. And then by the time you get to the fights, the only time you will speak up is when one is really like totally uncalled for and it's just kind of crossing the line. And I feel like we caught one of those moments. So listen, I'm not defending West. In fact, I think that it needs to be like Westival, okay? Like festival, but Westival, scandal. because I think that West should be taking the brunt of it. Because let me tell you something about Sir West here. He is a ladies' man beyond ladies' man. He kept telling Sierra he liked her. Then we see in the next episode, previews for the next episode, he brings a girl after you're telling Sierra that you like her. And then you're hooking up with Sierra again after she poured her heart out and said that, she's taken advantage of and people just want to experience her. I feel like after that, if West really wasn't serious, he should have just left it, because he already had her. He already had his chance with her, and now he's dragging her in again. And then on top of that, he's seeing a girl for a year, Maya, M-E-I-J-A, Slavic name, Maya. So the J is a yeah. So Maya. And then on top of that, then he's hooking up with Amanda. I think that he has major insecurities that need to be dealt with. So do all the other women. Sierra should have dumped his ass. Okay, and said, no thanks. Been there, done that. Amanda should have taken a little bit more time to be divorced and single before jumping on. She should have just taken her own advice as well and just, I don't want to date anyone from the house. That's not really aging too well, Amanda. Although I'm praying for her mental health. But West, where's the heat that's supposed to be on West? People are getting him at shows, and he's just sports events and games and traveling city to city. He still looks like himself. He doesn't have to hide himself. He's not scared. It's almost like he likes it. Like he's so twisted that he likes it, and he thinks that from the beginning. Well, let me put it this way: from the beginning, when he hooked up with Sierra and then broke it off. Didn't make her his girlfriend and just broke it off. We knew from then, because he admitted it. He went on these shows and he said, I fell for the trap of being on TV and getting all this attention from girls that I normally don't get. So he's admitted that he likes that attention. So now a year goes by, and the next year they're back in the house, and instead of him being praised, he's getting shat on. And he couldn't kind of bring the girls to the house and do his thing. Okay. And now this year rolls around. And I think with West, he's a type of person. I'm no psychologist. I don't know what the meaning for this is. But he thinks that to keep the peace with women, he has to really overly extend himself and pretend that he is obsessed with them. Which in a way is kind of nice, because it makes the girl feel good. And the reaction that you get from a girl that feels like you're into her and that you're really praising her, it's just like when you do it to a guy. When you praise a guy and you're really into him and you kind of boost his ego, it's a nice feeling, right? So I can see that how both opposite sexes, and I'm not excusing the behavior, but I can see how someone like West would have been okay, she's liking this and she feels good and she's having a good time. But I think he does that as a mechanism to be on good terms. He doesn't know friendship. He either crosses the line into that territory where it's just too much and it's lovey-dovey and the person will take it the wrong way with mixed signals, or he's the complete opposite. He's a dick. He's a douchebag. He's an asshole, He reminds me of a lot of people that I know. Even seeing him in the videos in Italy, it's okay, but you're saying to Sierra that you're liking her and all these things, and then in Italy you look like you're just being a fuckboy. I hate when guys are like that. Even to this day. Now, I don't date via social media. I don't date via all these kind of things. But I do get people that are in my DMs and will be like, oh, I like you and I'm not scared of you. I know that, if you give me a chance, I can really we'll be a match. But every photo that they post is with a girl, on boats with girls. There's a group of guys at a concert and there's one girl there. And the guy that's in my DMs telling me that he really digs me is the only guy that's got his arms around the girl. It's come on now. Why do I give off this type of energy to fuckboys? It's almost like, I agree with what Sierra is saying, although I'm not black. I am Middle Eastern. I am Persian. I think that having a strong personality and being a type of person that doesn't get with every guy, it becomes a challenge for guys, and they want to experience you, but they don't necessarily want to be with you. So I understand with her on that level how you attract those type of men that can be strong, that can kind of combat you emotionally. They can be combative. They're okay, well, she thinks that I'm stronger, and it becomes a challenge for them. rather than them kind of respecting who you are as a person. It becomes a challenge for them to get you. And that is fucking hard. So with that, I totally 1000% understand her. I just kind of really want to make that clear. And I kind of want us to question West a little bit more rather than kind of letting him fly under the radar and give the brunt to Amanda. And I understand that Amanda was Sierra's friend. I think without us, the peanut gallery, getting involved, they're eventually going to work it out. They might not be best friends again. They might not be on the show together again, but they will work it out. But it's like... And I know Amanda let it happen. She let a man get in between them. But hey, if there's anything that we learn from Paige and Hannah's podcast, it's that women are strong and women are far beyond intelligent past men, and that we should not allow men to get in between us. This is stuff that I teach my kid who's 12 years old at her school, because her school tries to ship girls and guys together. I don't know. It's got to be a Canadian American thing, because you go to Mexico or any other culture in the world, and at a young age, they learn that it's boys and girls are friends. It takes a while to get to the next stage. But in Canada, it becomes like boys and girls are supposed to be sexual. And that idea that's planted in people's heads starts at a very young age. Regardless, the point here, I guess, lots of good topics. I'm going off on tangents. But hey, this is why I love this reality TV stuff, because it can bring out so many things that are actually real and happen in real life, and we can dissect it further and apply it to our own lives. But I really think that I'm hoping that Amanda and Sierra will work through this. Not today, not tomorrow, not this year, both in the next few years. They're going to get past this. And really the one that we should hold to the fire is West. It's like, how dare you come into this house, pit girls against each other, fake pretend that you love all these women, fake love bomb them, not only drag them through the mud once, and I'm talking about Sierra here, but then you do it twice to her after she's poured her heart out and said that, she's sick of men just trying to experience her. It's like, yeah, you didn't even care. You didn't even care. And on top of that, you go with a friend. Okay, maybe Amanda's vulnerable because she's the one going through a fucking divorce. But like, there's two sides to the story. How come you couldn't have been the friend that was like, you know what? No way. Not my friends they're both my friends, and they're both going through a divorce. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole until it's completely over. And at that point, if a year or two has gone by, then I'll reevaluate and sure. But no, because he was thinking with his fucking dick and not his head. And I was trying to like West this season, but it's this whole scandal that's broken up that's making me be like, nope, I knew I didn't fucking like that guy for a particular reason. I knew it. Should have just stuck to my senses, which I did. Literally, it was the one episode before the scandal broke out that I was like, you know what, he's like not bad. He's kind of cute. He's being so nice to Sierra. It's nice to see, but Dunzo. Goodbye, West. I just hope to God that he doesn't appear on the screens again. I mean, if Summer House is coming to an end because now we have In the City, goodbye. I can't imagine Summer House coming back unless it's with a brand new cast, brand new house, because it is fun. And we did have, I believe, no, that was a Southern Charm that we had. Or was it a Summer House? I don't know, but we had another Summer House and it was fun. I don't know what's the fate for the future of that show, but I just know that I'm praying for Sierra and I'm praying for Amanda, and the struggles that each of those women are going. I will always kind of, and I wasn't like this before, but have the side of the women, and I just hope that they get through this without any self-harm. They're both wonderful people, and although I know one of the women allowed a man to get in between them, I just hope that it's a lesson learned and they evolve from this, really. Let's get into Rhode Island. You guys, Rhode Island, this is what has been missing from our screens. And again, I'm a diehard Jersey girl. Like, I love Jersey, love Atlanta. I love the East Coast stuff. I find that I'm a West Coast girly. And one thing I do notice about the West Coast is that we are a lot more laid back. Our problems seem big. I mean, okay, so let's refer this to reality TV shows. Beverly Hills. Orange County. I guess those are the only two West Coasts really that we have. It's intense, but it's not as intense as you get from the East Coast girls. Okay. the middle ground girls, like the Dallas girls and the Utah girls, they were a lot more messed up in like psychological ways, okay? The whole Mormon stuff, and nothing against religion, but the whole Mormon mixed in with being on TV and being famous or trying to be famous. The formula creates crazy, not just chaos, literally like mentally ill crazy. And of course we love it. Just think about how they were Deandra and like all the girls that were on Dallas, you know? I mean, that was kind of, you're like, these people are fucked. The Bible Belts like produce a lot of fucked up shit. And I'm a Christian, okay? But I'm just saying, like, the Bible Belt shows are great because it just mixes like their religion in with like how messed up they are. So, you know, that's like mid America. Now, East Coast America, I'm talking Jersey, I'm talking Atlanta, I'm talking even sometimes Potomac. I'm talking Miami. Like, they are intense. And some of my favorite, to be honest, franchises, because they don't give a fuck and they will always petition for themselves. And that's something that I love. I love people that don't sell themselves out or sell themselves short, or they don't care that the cameras are there. And it's not about breaking the fourth wall. It's just that they're themselves. They have to explain their point, and I don't give a fuck if I have an audience or not, you know, within reason. But obviously, like, the heightened dramatics of these shows plays into why we love them so much. Rhode Island is just hitting it on the nail on the head, like exactly where we want. And what's funny is that I've been listening to podcasts in the meantime, because I still have my shows and podcasts that I listen to, walking to the gym, taking the dog for a walk. They all agree. So obviously the formula that they created for this show is doing something right. And it's just right off the bat too. Like, we haven't waited for anything to happen. It's just from the beginning, like, oh, okay, like here we are, you know, like, and it's starting like so quick. And I'm living for it. I'm loving it. So you have, like I said, so far my favorites on the show are Liz. I love someone that's unapologetically, wow, I'm really having trouble with that word today, themselves. She has nothing to hide. Just from her saying that her and Jerry might be related, like distant relatives. That honesty, love her. To the fact that we even forget that might be like incestuous, and it's not, I'm just saying. But like, when you hear something like that initially, you're like, what in the hell in incest is happening here? But you forget because she's just so authentic. And this ties in with people saying that when you come on reality shows, just be honest about it, because then people will forget when you're honest about it, because it takes the excitement of that away. Whereas if you're trying to hold it back or deny it or hide it, then the spilling of the tea becomes much more dramatical and chaotic, and then the audience thrives off of that, because that's something that they can grasp onto and be like, oh, it's so good, right? So if you're just honest from the beginning, it takes it off. And with that being said, that's why I love Kelsey, who says that this is my man. Doesn't obviously reveal his identity, but this is the life that she lives. And even though apparently the guy hasn't had his Miami girlfriend for a couple of years now, but he still goes, like, he's kind of like a snowbird, that type, where he goes to a warmer climate for 6 months. She still didn't deny it, didn't lie about it. There have been rumors that have come out that says that she used to be an escort. Hey, we've all been there. I have been there, done that. I used to do that in my 20s too. That's another story for another day. I have no judgment, you know. Women are powerful creatures. Let me just say it that way. But she has come out and said that that's completely wrong. That's false. And hey, I kind of believe her, because why would she admit all these things that's going on in real time, but then deny that? Some people think that, and initially when you think like she's a sugar baby of some sort, you would think that it started off from being an escort, but some girls just get lucky and they end up, and she even said how she met her man. Like, you just meet the right person who's willing to offer all these things to you. And yeah, they come with conditions, you know? And one thing I love about Kelsey is that she's honest about, like, yeah, I have this great life and I have this big house, and 6 months out of the year I'm alone. And I know a lot of couples, they are not necessarily long distance, but the husband travels a lot, or, you know, for work or whatnot. And they are in the best relationships, because sometimes that break really helps, especially if you've been married for a long time. Not the break so you guys can be in open relationships. No. But just the time apart, then when you're back together again, it really makes you appreciate that person. Whereas like sometimes you can take that for granted if you're in each other's face a lot of times. With that being said, I know couples that are in their face together all the time. I mean, look at Melissa and Joe Gorga, and they still have a great, passionate relationship. And even off camera, I know people like that. But I'm just trying to say, like, I've seen either cases, and however the dynamic of the relationship is, I've seen it where it doesn't work for couples, and I've seen it where that same dynamic works for other couples. I would be very jealous. Actually, I am very jealous of her. I would love to be in a home where 6 months out of the year I'm completely alone and I can do whatever I want, but I have access to all the funds and someone cleans my home for me, and I don't have to see the guy for 6 months. I would dread seeing him for 6 months, but the glass, you only see the glass as half full, or as she sees it, half empty, or the grass might always be greener on the other side. She has been in this situationship, I think she said, okay, I might be getting this wrong, 6 years or 10 years? One of the two. I don't remember exactly. I didn't write it down. But she's not happy with it, because whereas we see it and we're like, oh, what a blessing. Like, she doesn't have to deal with this shit, blah, blah. She has everything for herself. She can do whatever she wants. She, on the other hand, is actually living it. And she's like, I'm sick of being alone. I want to start a family. I want someone that's going to be there for me 24/7 and is only for me. And specifically, they said that she's in a polyamorous relationship, which is something else that she was completely forthcoming and honest about. And so with that being said, I love her. I think that she's great for TV. Like, if there's things that are missing from reality TV shows, it's these people that can be really honest. And I don't think that people like Liz or Kelsey study, let me go on the show and be completely honest about this. Like, first of all, it's a big step to go on these reality TV shows knowing that those are some of the secrets, or not even a secret anymore, but these are some of the conditions that you live with in your life. And then for Liz, let's backtrack to Liz a little bit. It wasn't even about like her and her husband potentially being distant relatives, but even the fact that like she has a friend, and when her husband was gone for 3 weeks out of the year, sport fishing, she had a very unconventional friendship with one of her best friends, although they didn't sleep together, but people assumed that they had. All these kind of things that have happened in your life, and you're really, open about being honest about. Not only does it make us appreciate you, okay, let me speak for myself. I appreciate them already so much more than perhaps some of the other people, which it's just that they haven't revealed too much about themselves quite yet. But the revelations that these women have already put out and how they're being so honest about it, I love that type of, I don't give a fuck, this is who I am and this is what I've lived with. I mean, you got to respect people like that. You might not agree with what they're doing, or like you might be like, well, I would never say that, but then you respect someone that would, because you would never. Do you know what I mean? So I love it so far. And then another one of my favorites is Joellen. I've said this before. Joellen reminds me of every Italian girl I went to school with. Bodacious, rambunctious, out there, loud. I don't think she's full of herself at all. I think she's just authentically herself. And then we get introduced. So Joellen I love. Another thing about Joellen before I talk about who we got introduced to, I love how Joellen was honest about that. First of all, Alicia knew her husband because they all went to high school together, and her sister dated her now husband back in high school. And apparently the rumor is out there that they had slept together too. The older sister with the husband, the now husband. And then Joellen was into him. So then, hey, off limits, I say, I've kind of had this discussion. But I can respect someone that brings that out and says this is how it is. I can't help but think that maybe the Liz situation had a little hand by Dolores being like, hey, don't hide anything. Be honest about everything. The more honest you are, the less it comes back to bite you in the ass. And if Dolo did give that advice to Liz, who potentially went and gave it to her friends, who is Joellen, who is Kelsey, then good on Dolo. Good on her for telling him that advice, because it's working, and we're not even thinking about that. They become our favorites, really, you know? And I think it's refreshing to see people own stuff rather than kind of deflect from it or deny, because that has been the theme in a lot of the Housewives. I mean, I think at the beginning, when the franchises first started coming out, like with the advent of Real Housewives of Orange County, and then onwards, we had New York, and then we had Atlanta, and then we had Jersey. This is what all it was about. It was about being authentic. And then for a while, people start to hide things, because then being authentic led to Teresa going to jail. Teresa, this with the family, everything with Nene and Greg, and the divorce, and then getting remarried, and then things with Bethany and Luann and Luann's husbands, Tom, and and then Orange County with Vicky, and then Dawn, and then Brooks, and then so people start to hide things more. But I think we're going back to the reality of it, of when why we fell in love with these shows in the first place is because it's not self-producing, Rhode Island. They're all authentically themselves, and we want to see reality. And I know sometimes I hear Lala say, like, okay, it's reality, there's no script. But you could never, these are not rooms that you would find me with these people ever in. Like, I wouldn't hang out with these people outside of work, so to speak. That I still think is a little bit of production. It's self-producing. If you're not naturally friends with these people, why are you doing a show with them? I think that's still, yes, the reactions are real to things that are happening, but the situations aren't real. The situations are manufactured. You're put into rooms with people that aren't necessarily people that you would be in rooms with outside of the show. And we don't want to see that, because then, yes, the reactions are real to things that happen, but because the situations are manufactured, it doesn't really become reality. It becomes something that's, you're just kind of, it's like an improv, like you're putting them in a room and hoping for the best. Whereas I feel like Rhode Island, again, it's so back to the basics. These are all actual friends. They all actually know each other, with the exception of a few girls who are getting to know each other. So all the reactions are real. One thing that I hate about shows is when they bring things in from the past that we can't be there for and we can't see, so there's no confirmation. But that's how you know that there's a friendship there, because things have already happened amongst them. It's not just brand new, like, let's manufacture it on the show to get, viewership and to be put in situations where we have to produce these reactions. So that's another thing that typically would work against, I guess, shows that are trying to manufacture situations that wouldn't necessarily happen in the first place. But for this show, it works because it's the first season, it's the first couple episodes. So this proves that they're actually friends, because you have a situation, for example, with Joe, Ellen, and Rula that have happened off the show, but now it's coming to the show. So let's talk about Rula. They call her Rulala, but I like Rula. I do like the way that she speaks. I think it's really like, she gets to the point. I'm a very passionate person. Sometimes when things happen, my reaction is too quick. And over time and over the years, I've learned that I have to slow it down. I have to just wait for a few minutes, process, and then I'm not one of those people that's going to be quick, because my reaction will be of anger, and it won't be witty and smart. It's going to be like a fucking aggressive, like, I'll fucking knock you out, because like I haven't been able to process yet. And this is something that really affected me as a child, because either I wouldn't stand up for myself and the situation would fester on in my brain for the next 3-4 days, and I'd be like, oh, I should have said that, and then 3-4 days later, when I'm still thinking about it, but the person's like moved on, and I would say something, they're like, oh, you're still thinking about it? Well, yeah, motherfucker, I am. I just didn't want to react. And then as I got older, I was like, maybe I should just fucking react in the moment. But then those reactions didn't help me either, because then I look like a fucking psycho, and then no one's listening to me. So sometimes when things happen, I either don't allow it to get to a place where I become so affected like that, where I'm thinking about it for a few days, because I couldn't process in the moment, because I need a few minutes, or else I don't want to react out of anger. Or I'm able to articulate a lot quicker. Like, I just need a few more seconds, but I'm not Erica Jane, and that's why I admire her so much. She can just spit it right out. Like, she's got a comeback. She can process quickly. I don't know how to train my mind to do that, but and in those situations when I do kind of react, but in a very, I want to say, nice way, I am usually good with my words, and I we usually put the person in their place, but it's very far and few in between because I don't put myself in situations like that where I have to react or require such a strong reaction. And if I do, I guess it's worked for me, and I guess it's wisdom, you guys. I don't know where I'm going with this, but what I'm trying to say is Rula comes into the show, and now we know that she, again, someone that's being honest, okay? And we just got introduced to her now. Someone that's being honest about something that's happened in their life. You can either not be on these shows and not bring this up, or understand that this is what these shows kind of expect, and this is what you're going to have to bring. It's either going to get out now, or you deny the possibility, or kind of decline, the possibility of doing a show like this because of these type of situations. I think with Rula, she's really smart. She's a financial advisor already. She's in financial services. So she is already well off. She lives a good life. This is something that struck me, and all of this is gonna come around full circle. She was asked, "Do you forgive your husband?" And she says she's still working on it. So that's why I feel like she was okay coming on to the show, because not that she's trying to like put him down on the show. In fact, all I've seen is her kind of standing up for her marriage on the show and kind of butting heads with Joe Ellen, although we haven't seen them in a room together quite yet, because she feels like Joe Ellen's the one that kind of made light of the situation of her husband's affair by producing these photos to the group. But I feel like the world knowing that her husband was a cheater and had an affair is kind of her way of kind of punishing him even a little bit more, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. Because I don't think the girl needs money from the show. But I think it's nice if she comes out on top and she says, yeah, I know that he is. I don't forgive him. Like, fuck the show. I don't need the money, clearly. But, like, it'd be nice to see his reputation tarnished a little bit, and that people know that he's a cheater. Because if you go with a guy that's a known cheater, like, you're an idiot. Because then if he cheats on you, people will be like, well, it's everywhere. People know that this is the type of person that he is. And so for you to so I feel like it might be like a little, not tactic, but kind of way for her to kind of get her power back in this whole kind of scandal. So that's the reason why I think that someone like her would choose to maybe do a show like this. Because really, she also has nothing to hide. She's like, I didn't do anything wrong. And people's marriages go through this, and I'm going to be forthcoming about it, because she also doesn't want to miss the opportunity of being on a show like this. It could help with her financial services work. It can just help her in general. Let's say her and her husband split up. It can help them with that as well, where she can kind of thrive and do good on her own. But the beef with Joe Ellen, again, we have yet to kind of figure out what's happening. So what we know so far is that Joe Ellen was on Instagram, and she saw on the girls' Instagram, so I guess she must know the girls somehow, or through people, because algorithms of people that you perhaps might know will show up, or profiles of people that you might know show up in your algorithm somehow. So I'm assuming that, with that being said, Joe Ellen saw these photos pop up and sent them to not only Rula, but to the other girls in the group, because they keep referring back to the group. So this is how another reason that that they're all good friends, or they're all in a friend group outside of the show. And I think Rula wanted to see all the photos, but Rula would have appreciated it had it not been spread to the other girls in the group. And I feel like in that, she's kind of grasping at straws. She's kind of just needs something to be mad at outside of her husband. And I think it is misplaced. I do like Rula, but I think it is misplaced. Like, being mad at Joellen. The girl, the mistress, was the one that posted these photos. So the photos are already public. Like, your man's an idiot for allowing her to do that. Even to take a photo of him if he's having this affair. And from what I know and what I've heard and what I've seen so far, Rhode Island is pretty fucking small. So, I think it's really misprojected anger. With that being said, I don't know the relationship of Joellen and Rula before. Were they good friends? Because if they were good friends, I could see how she could be mad. Although I think that the punishment doesn't fit the crime, you know? She's a little too mad. But I can see how it would make you angry if this is a friend of yours and now your friend is going and telling other people, look what I saw, you know, rather than kind of like keeping it just amongst themselves until they figure it out or until they're ready to kind of announce to the world that he cheated. But I still think that Joellen, if this is true, did the right thing by sending it to Rula as well and being like, yo, I saw this. And then Rula's like, can you send me more? I want to see all the photos. And Joellen did exactly that. So I'm still a bit confused. I think that we're missing parts of the story here because Joellen also came off really defensive. She's like, if she fucking comes to, like, they both have anger, which you can understand why. Joellen doesn't want to be blamed something that is not her fault. Like she's not the one that posted the photos. She's not the girl in the photos. She in fact went and told Rula. I think where Rula had higher expectations of Joellen was when Joellen went and shared the photos with other people. But mind you, it's not like it came from a private profile. These photos came from a public profile of the mistress. So I think maybe it's worth a conversation. So I'm interested to see how this will play out. Now, it can play out two ways. We've seen, it just happened on Summer House recently where Dara is kind of confronting Bailey and Levi, and the clips and the previews make it seem like there's going to be a blowout. But I was like, I know Bravo and how they edit so well now in these reality shows. They're hyping it up to be something. But then when the confrontation comes, it's like they let it go. Exactly what happened. They previewed the confrontation between Dara and Bailey and Levi. I'm talking about Summer House for a sec here. I will get back to Rhode Island. They made the preview seem like it's something big. Then the next episode, they didn't even play that clip to the very end, and they made it a continuation so it was like we had to wait 2 whole episodes to see it, and it was nothing. So this could just be something to bring us all in, but as the season goes on, it really could be nothing. You know, it could be, in fact, they end up being better friends or something plays out even better from this evolution of, okay, you spread the photos in a malicious way to, okay, I understand that you didn't mean it maliciously, let's move on, etc., etc. So I'm loving it. I do like Alicia. I do like all the other girls. Alicia. We didn't see much of Rosie this episode. I'm really liking Ashley. I think Ashley's another one of those people that's very authentic. Ashley also has been on reality TV. She's from The Bachelor. She's going through a lot of things right now, and I have heard her on podcasts. She's very honest about what she's going through. And she's cried multiple times on the show, just being honest and, you know, not that, and it has nothing to do with the state of their marriage, but just the issues that come up in their marriage. And I think that's very honorable as well, you know? So I love the cast. Oh, by the way, I didn't know that Liz was half Middle Eastern. That's crazy. So yay to the Middle Easterns, as I'm Persian. And I think Liz was Lebanese or Syrian. And then Rula is half Syrian. So that's exciting. Exciting to see. I love shows where they have the Middle Easterns. And I find that in the United States, like, I don't think I've seen any Persians on the show except for like the Valley Persian style. That's probably what they saved it for. They're like, all the Persians got to come on one show. They deserve a whole show for themselves. But I do see a lot of Lebanon. Even, what was it? Rich Wakili, who is Rosie, not Rosie, Kathy's husband on Jersey. He's Lebanese. He's Middle Eastern. So that would make his kids half, obviously, Lebanese and half Italian. And I find it a lot more on the East Coast. I think East Coast has more of the Arabic speaking. Not that there's not Persian. I have cousins from Brooklyn, okay? So I'm just saying, I see a lot of the more Arabic speaking Middle Easterns on the East Coast that come to reality TV, and I see a lot more of the Persians, obviously. We love the sun, so no wonder they're in LA, you know what I mean? I'm in Mexico, they're in LA. I'm on the West Coast still, too, so I can see why, you know, a lot more of the Persians are on the West Coast, especially in LA. They call Los Angeles Tehrangeles, and Tehran's the capital of Iran, so it's just because so many Persians are there. There's Persians everywhere. I have cousins in Houston, Texas that are Persian. I have cousins in Atlanta, Georgia that are Persian. I'm going to go visit them with my daughter in a couple years. I have cousins in New York that are Persian, so I'm not saying that that's just it. I'm just saying, like, I noticed that we see a lot more Middle Eastern from the Arabic speaking countries on the East Coast reality shows. Larsa Pippen is another one. She's Syrian and Lebanese, I think, or just Syrian, and she's also from an East Coast reality show. So just something that I've observed. I haven't taken like the general population consensus and, just from observations, just again, something that I observed. So that's Rhode Island, you guys. It's awesome. It's great. If you haven't watched it yet, 2 episodes are out. Now we have to wait a whole week for the next one, but I love it. Let's talk a little bit about Atlanta. Mixed reviews coming from Atlanta. Some people thought that, they didn't like the beginning episode. It was a little bit too Portia focused, and some loved it. I loved it. I personally love Angela, and I love seeing Charles and her relationship. I'm glad that she's back. Angela's around my age. I think she's a little bit younger than me, which, I mean, damn, that girl's got her life together at that age. So I love Angela. She's one of my favorites on that show. I do love Portia. Portia, of course, because I've grown up with her on Atlanta, and by growing up, I mean like from the evolution of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Portia has been one of the main stars of that show. So you can't help but kind of like gravitate towards her, love her or hate her, right? Like sometimes people hate Tamra on the Real Housewives of Orange County, but like love her or hate her, Tamra is Orange County. Same with Teresa. I love Teresa, but some people hate her. But honestly, I'm sure her haters would be like, well, it'd be better off without her. But honestly, like, that's why they are bringing her back. Like, Jersey's nothing without Teresa. And Melissa, for that matter. She's been on the show for so long. But I love seeing them together. Drew's back. Shamia was acting weird this episode. Like, what the hell? Like, I think it's gotten to Shamia's head too much. I liked her last season. I'm indifferent so far this season. I have yet to see a couple more episodes play out. I know from what I heard on the episode that K. Michelle, it's funny because I knew a girl too. Her name was T. Sarah, like literally like T and then Sara. So it's like K. Michelle, T. Sarah. These are cool names, but I know that she's a country singer who's black. That's all I really know about her. I didn't really know about her prior. And Pinky. I think Pinky is the one that has those restaurants, but they didn't really get into their businesses. But I did notice that it was really spouse heavy this first episode, like, them and their significant others. Who else was there? There was Phaedra. Phaedra's still Phaedra, Drew still has, was it Ralph living in the basement? That was funny. One thing that kind of confused me was that Portia is with a guy that everyone's saying is like a rent a boyfriend type guy. But I'm pretty sure Portia came out saying that she was in a lesbian relationship. So I'm surprised, or maybe at that point she wasn't in it, that didn't kind of start off the episode. But there's a couple more cast members. I forgot, was it Kim? I forgot who's the little one that's best friends with Shamia. Right now, they're BFFs, they're saying, because apparently Shamia and Portia still haven't worked out their relationship, their friendship. So, all in all, it kind of shows everyone, kind of introduces us briefly to everyone on the show. And this is kind of where we get mixed reviews on the first episode. Like, people had wished that they'd focus a little bit more on, like, Pinky and K. Michelle because they're the newest ones. Although I feel like they're kind of leaving, like, the bang for the next couple episodes. Which works for someone like me because it keeps me watching. But then other critics have said that that's maybe where you lose people when you don't introduce the new cast members enough. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't think Atlanta has an issue really with having viewership or not. The show is great and it speaks for itself. But with that being said, it shows kind of everyone how they're doing them with their spouses. Everyone's kind of has a partnership of some sort. But then they go to Portia's house for a kind of like a partner party, like where you bring your partner. And Drew showed up like on FaceTime with hers, which is Black, who she said that in the previous season that there was nothing going on between them. Okay. Sure, Drew. Like Drew, but like it's not important enough for me to like care enough, What I loved about this is when Portia and her boy, or her partner, I should say, I don't want to be like petty because I really don't know. They're kind of like standing there and then you see like Simon's ghost walk through. Oh my God, y'all, I was dying at that. You guys, that was the funniest thing ever. Like how they just got him walking through, and then they're like, oh my God, the ghost of Simon's back. Like Simon came back. Oh my God. That was such good. Like how they just, and it was so subtle and like random too. You know, you're like I rewinded, like I don't really rewind it, but I had to like go back. I'm like, wait a minute, what was that? And it was actually like Simon just walking through, and it was just so funny. Oh my God. I died at that. That was great. But they had this kind of event at Portia's house. They bring their partners and they started chit-chatting away. And one thing I didn't really like was that K. Michelle got up and she left the ladies and she went and sat with the guys when the guys were kind of having their thing. Like, I know that she's newly married to her husband, but like that would kind of be weird. It's like, but like, you know, you're on a show and like all the girls are kind of having a conversation like that you should be involved in because now you're part of the show. I know that there was a bit of tension there. So, Kelly, that's the girl's name, Kelly, that is best BFFs with Shamia this season, who is BFFs with the other girl from last season that Kenya had made all these kind of like, that she was an escort or that she was giving fellatio to a guy. She had pictures and then it ended up being the wrong girl. And then she said that she wanted to sue. Glad that girl's not back, although, you know, good luck with that lawsuit. How is she going to sue Bravo for $40 million? Anyways, Kelly and I guess Portia started going at it, which is weird for me because, like, I guess part of Portia being a little bit more defensive is because she knows that Kelly is friends with Shamia, and she feels like everything that comes from that side of like the friend group, which is pretty much Shamia and Kelly, is like kind of like a dig rather than genuine curiosity. So I can see that. But I think that Portia's a lot better than that. Like if she's going to let anything affect her, it certainly shouldn't be things that Kelly or Shamia are saying. Maybe Shamia because of their history, but definitely not Kelly. But anyways, and at that moment, K. Michelle got up and left. And I thought that was kind of weird. She went and she joined the boys. Okay. And I don't know much about her, but like when you're on a reality show like this, let the guys be the guys and you be with the girls, because that's also going to cause issues, you know? I get that maybe some people get along better with guys. Then don't be on a reality show where it centers around women, you know? Because the show doesn't center around the men, it centers around the women. And if she really wants to kind of make an impact on the show, I feel like, you know, and it is the first episode, she's kind of just getting used to it, but I feel like she needs to stick it out a little bit more through these tough conversations, you know? You don't have to get involved, you don't have to be the center of it, but just, you know, be there for the girls during that kind of moment, during those kind of moments, you know? But it's still too early to tell. I do like her so far. I love the banter that she had with Charles. It's like she could take his sarcasm. I really love Charles Oakley. I love how he loves his wife, and it's funny because last season they tried to tell us that he was cheating on her and that they didn't love each other, but I think that like that's just how they are. He's just a sarcastic person and she can handle his sarcasm, and I love how it opened up with her saying like, I don't care what y'all say about me and his relationship because I know the truth. And I love that. Again, back to the authenticity, back to being yourselves, back to unapologetically being yourself. Like she don't give a fuck no more, and I love that. I love what I've seen so far. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was good. Like I'm just happy that it's back, really, is where I came from. So I'm excited to see how the show is going to play out. It wasn't that much, not too much to talk about, but that was just kind of like in a gist of it, kind of a roundabout way of saying like the show is back, and you know they had this event, and let's just see how the rest of the season plays out. I'm excited to see that. So with that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. I will have another Summer House Beverly Hills episode coming out tomorrow. And I'll have some questions, another question episode, and probably a personal episode coming out. So we'll probably have 4 episodes coming out this week. So this one being the first. Pursuers, thank you for listening. I know we have a lot of new pursuers that are here listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, anywhere that you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Send me a DM. Engage on the socials. I would love for you guys to do that as well. With that being said, Pursuers, thank you for listening. I'm so excited for these new shows to start. When In the City starts too, oh my God, another show to look forward to. I feel like there's so many going on right now, but I know some are ending, so it's not like that intense. But yes, exciting stuff. So until next time, Pursuers, enjoy your day. I'm off to the gym. I was about to go earlier, but then my headphones were dead. So I was like, let me record first, then I'll go to the gym. So I'm off to the gym. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll chat with you tomorrow.